What's up, guys? Welcome. If I can give a little analogy to love and relationships nowadays from history in the past, I wanted to bring up a story about when, okay, so back in the day, we're coming back to a monarchy. We used to know a monarchy when the Romanovs were in power. This is World War One. They murdered the Romanovs, and they've been trying to track and kill. If they can't kill, they really try to hinder the bloodline of the Romanovs. Regardless, the genocide never ended, by the way. But we hadn't seen a divine monarchy, which we're now returning to since then. And it echoes stories from the past, right? Because history repeats itself. So I just wanted to share a quick story of the Battle of Actium. That is the whole reason why we're living in like modern day Rome. You know, I always criticize Austin, Texas as being modern day Rome, and it doesn't matter because God's will be done. Empires fall in one day. Sorry about you. But something weird happens when quote unquote God leaves the planet. Okay. So when Julius Caesar was assassinated, it really hindered love and relationships. Think about, this is like a side note, but also, and I don't promote this because our culture is not really ready for it, but if you think about polygamy, sort of, like not for everyone, but like in the royal family, Julius Caesar was with Cleopatra, but so was Mark Antony. You know, it was like some kind of mutual bond. You have, I always joke that you need like two husbands. You need like an emotional support husband and then like your husband. So it's sort of a joke, but it is kind of the way things were going in Greece and Egypt and Rome were like the major powers at the time. In Greece and Egypt, you had but you also had Mark Antony and Caesar going back and forth between Rome and Greece and Egypt because I think they were trying to create peace, sustain some kind of sustainability really with Julius Caesar, because back in the day, people used to know that God was incarnate. This was like, maybe not God, but it was like his representative. And that's, you know, God sent his son, Jesus Christ, 30 years after the death of Cleopatra, then came Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, and so on and so forth. So it was really like the history is like really butting up to the biblical history of Mary and Jesus. He was born 30 years after Cleopatra died. History repeats itself. So here's the analogy of like love and relationships if God is not involved. Because back in the day, Julius Caesar and Cleopatra, they made things run smoothly, right? Because there was this presence of God on the planet. There was this harmony of man and woman on the planet. When they were successful in murdering Julius Caesar, God left the planet. And it left a huge power vacuum. So the relationship between Cleopatra and Mark Antony was severely strained. Even though they were involved in large military affairs, the relationship was strained. They knew that the military was strained, but they didn't care. They were still going to war with Augustus Octavian and his little minion, Marcus Agrippa, who are here now in America. And Agrippa's in Austin. Came back, reincarnate, you know, do the same thing all over again. Same thing happening all over again. Now, who are these men? Back in the day, Augustus Octavian was like your financial and political like sphere, right? He ruled all that engineering. There's a lot of war and engineering. He was the Cornelius Vanderbilt. You didn't really want Cornelius Vanderbilt because Isambard Kingdom Brunel, who is actually Elon Musk, his engineering is far superior. So there's a war in engineering, there's a war in politics, and obviously a war in the financial market. This largely represents who the element Augustus Octavian was. And also his little minion, Marcus Agrippa, represents your modern day Dionysus. It's the figure that keeps people stuck in delusion, that keep falling for the agenda, right? So his job is to keep people kind of like culturally stuck in the BS illusion of Augustus Octavian, satanic type of enslavement. We're living in that world now. So, but prior to that, and then, Jesus came, he gave us mercy. But prior to that, we had an empire that was thriving because these figures were here. And then when Julius Caesar was compromised, it left a power vacuum. Just like when the Romanovs were killed, it left a power vacuum this last century. It cycles within cycles and history repeats. But, Cleopatra and Mark Antony, things were shaky. They were not on solid ground, but they didn't they didn't care. They still went to war. They knew they were going to lose. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they tried. Why wouldn't you try? They knew they were going to lose the battle of Actium. And we're living in the world that created. There's something wrong in the relationships between men and women when God is not involved, right? When God is not here, when you don't make God a part of your life, your relationships fail, your enemies creep in, but when God sent Jesus, Jesus became victory for all. So this is very important history. You can't even look this stuff up anymore. You know how whitewashed the internet is? It's so stupid, so dumb. But yeah, dude, we used to know. I still remember. Alrighty, that's that. You're kind of people. Check you later. Have a good night. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. Sorry about the blood on my chin. I have this little blemish I keep picking. It's so funny. It's like bleeding. Sorry about that. That's weird. All right, have a good night.